It was a cold, gray afternoon on February 24, 2013, in the Brownsville neighborhood of Brooklyn, New York. The streets of Lott Avenue were quiet, lined with modest row houses that stood as silent witnesses to the daily lives of their residents. Omar Murray, a 37-year-old ironworker, trudged home after a long day, his breath visible in the chilly air. He was a man of routine, a devoted husband and father, unaware that this ordinary day would be his last. As Omar turned the key in the lock of his home at 204 Lott Avenue, a figure emerged from the shadows. A single gunshot shattered the stillness, the sound reverberating through the narrow hallway. Omar staggered forward, clutching his chest, and collapsed just inside the door, blood pooling beneath him. Upstairs, his wife, Alicia Noel Murray, 25, was with their 10-month-old son. Hearing the shot, she locked herself in the bedroom, her hands trembling as she dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? The operator's voice crackled through the phone. Someone shot my husband, Alicia cried, her voice a mix of panic and desperation. He's lying on the floor, there's blood everywhere. Please send help. Police and paramedics arrived swiftly, their sirens piercing the quiet neighborhood. Omar was rushed to Brookdale University Hospital, but the bullet had done its damage. A few hours later, he was pronounced dead. As detectives surveyed the scene, they noted Alicia's demeanor, shaken, yet oddly composed for someone who had just lost her husband. Was she a grieving widow, or was there something more sinister at play? The investigation that followed would unravel a chilling tale of betrayal, greed, and a meticulously planned murder. Background and setup. Omar Murray was born in Jamaica, a man who carried the warmth of his homeland in his heart. He immigrated to the United States, where he built a life as an ironworker, a job that demanded strength and precision. Known for his strong work ethic, Omar was also deeply religious, a regular attendee at the Full Gospel Assembly of God Church in Crown Heights. His faith was a cornerstone of his life, guiding him through the challenges of work and family. In 2009, Omar married Alicia Noel, a 25-year-old home health aide employed by the Visiting Nurse Service of New York. To the outside world, they appeared to be a happy couple, building a life together in a row house owned by Alicia's mother in Brownsville. In 2012, they welcomed a son, a joyful addition to their family. But beneath this facade, cracks were forming. Alicia was grappling with mounting financial debts, a burden that weighed heavily on her. The pressure of unpaid bills and a desire for a more comfortable life began to erode her commitment to her marriage. Shortly after their wedding, Omar and Alicia took out a life insurance policy on Omar for $530,000 with National Benefit Life Insurance. Later, they added another policy, bringing the total coverage to $680,000. For Alicia, these policies represented a potential escape from her financial woes. If something were to happen to Omar, the payout could clear her debts and provide a fresh start. But Alicia's troubles extended beyond money. She had begun an affair with Damian Lovell, a 29-year-old man who would become her partner in a deadly conspiracy. Their relationship was a secret kept from Omar, who continued to trust his wife implicitly. Together, Alicia and Lovell devised a plan to eliminate Omar and claim the insurance money. The first step came in October 2012, when Alicia attempted to poison Omar by lacing his food with a toxic substance. Omar fell ill and was hospitalized, but he recovered, unaware of his wife's betrayal. Undeterred by the failed poisoning, Alicia and Lovell escalated their plan. Lovell reached out to contacts in the criminal underworld, seeking a hitman to carry out the murder. On February 6, 2013, their first attempt unfolded. A hired gunman took aim at Omar but missed, leaving him shaken but unharmed. The failure only strengthened Alicia's resolve. She and Lovell turned to Kirk Porteous, a 25-year-old with a history of violent crime, promising him $3,500 to complete the job. Porteous agreed, setting the stage for a tragedy that would shock the community. The crime. February 24, 2013, began like any other Sunday for Omar Murray. He had spent the morning at church, finding solace in the familiar hymns and prayers. As he returned home that afternoon, the Brownsville streets were bathed in the pale light of a winter sun. The row house at 204 Lott Avenue stood unassuming, its brick facade blending into the neighborhood's rhythm. Omar had no reason to suspect danger as he approached his front door. Inside, Kirk Porteous waited, armed with a gun provided by Alicia through Lovell. As Omar stepped into the hallway, Porteous emerged and fired a single shot. The bullet struck Omar in the chest, and he stumbled forward, collapsing just inside the entrance. The sound of the gunshot echoed through the house, a stark interruption to the quiet domesticity. Upstairs, Alicia was with her infant son. Hearing the shot, she locked the bedroom door and dialed 911. "There's an active shooter in my house," she told the operator, her voice laced with urgency. "My husband's been shot, please hurry." She remained in the bedroom, clutching her child, as the chaos unfolded below. Police arrived within minutes, their flashlights cutting through the dim interior of the house. They found Omar lying in a pool of blood, his breathing shallow. Paramedics worked frantically to stabilize him, but the wound was severe. As they rushed him to the hospital, detectives began to process the scene. There were no signs of forced entry, no valuables missing, nothing to suggest a robbery. Alicia's calm demeanor struck the officers as unusual. After going through something like that, she wasn't crying or under stress, she seemed calm, fine, one detective later testified. Omar's fight for life ended hours later at Brookdale University Hospital. The single bullet had pierced his heart, leaving his family and community in mourning. But for detectives, the absence of typical crime scene indicators pointed to a more calculated motive. The question lingered: who would want Omar Murray dead? A criminal cold cases investigation. The investigation into Omar Murray's murder began with the assumption that it might have been a botched robbery. Brownsville was no stranger to crime, and a home invasion seemed plausible. But as detectives combed through the scene, they found no evidence of theft or struggle. The precision of the attack, a single shot, no signs of a break-in, suggested a targeted hit. The breakthrough came when police arrested Dion Jack, a 22-year-old identified as the getaway driver. Under interrogation, Jack revealed details of a murder-for-hire plot, implicating Damian Lovell and Kirk Porteous. Jack's confession led to Lovell's arrest, and it was Lovell who cracked under pressure, confessing his role and pointing the finger at Alicia Noel Murray as the mastermind. Lovell told detectives that Alicia had orchestrated the plan to kill Omar for the insurance money. He detailed the failed poisoning attempt in October 2012 and the botched shooting on February 6, 2013. Lovell admitted to hiring Porteous for the second attempt, providing him with a $500 down payment and a gun supplied by Alicia. The promise of $3,500 sealed the deal. Detectives corroborated Lovell's story with phone records showing frequent communication between Alicia, Lovell, and Porteous in the weeks leading up to the murder. Financial transactions further supported the narrative, revealing payments linked to the hit. The life insurance policies, totaling $680,000, became a focal point, with evidence that Alicia attempted to cash them out just days after Omar's death. In June 2016, more than 3 years after the murder, Alicia Noel Murray was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The delay in her arrest was due to the complexity of building a case against her, as she had initially avoided suspicion. But the evidence was mounting, and the truth was closing in. Key evidence in the investigation. Detailed phone records showed frequent calls between Alicia, Lovell, and Porteous before the murder. Financial transaction payments linked to the $3,500 promised to Porteous, including a $500 down payment. Life insurance policies worth $680,000, with Alicia attempting to claim them days after Omar's death. Witness testimony. Lovell's confession and Jack's statements implicated Alicia as the mastermind. Physical evidence. It's a gun and a sex toy found in a Ziploc bag in another bedroom, suggesting premeditation. Outcome and aftermath. The trials of the conspirators unfolded in 2017. Damian Lovell, having pleaded guilty to second-degree murder as part of a plea deal, was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. His testimony was crucial in securing convictions against his company conspirators. Kirk Porteous faced a separate trial, where a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life without parole, his lack of remorse noted by the court. Alicia Noel Murray's trial was a spectacle of emotion and revelation. The prosecution, led by Assistant District Attorney Emily Dean, painted a picture of a woman driven by greed and infidelity. Noel had a determination to murder her husband, Dean argued, highlighting Alicia's attempts to poison Omar and her swift move to remarry and ensure her new husband. Alicia's mother, Pauline Noel, a born-again Christian, took the stand against her daughter, testifying to her lack of remorse and questionable character. This testimony was a turning point, underscoring the depth of betrayal within the family. Alicia took the stand in her defense, but her testimony faltered under cross-examination. When asked by Dean if she had remarried in September 2014 and taken out insurance policies on her new husband, Alicia confirmed she had, prompting gasps in the courtroom. Her defense attorney, Wynton Sharp, maintained her innocence, arguing that Lovell's testimony was unreliable due to his plea deal. But the jury was unconvinced. After less than 3 hours of deliberation, they found Alicia guilty of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and weapon possession on June 8, 2017. At the sentencing on June 29, 2017, Omar's family confronted Alicia with raw emotion. His brother, Andrew Murray, spoke through tears. "This was the person that was my sister. I thought she loved my brother. My brother deserved more than this." Omar's cousin, Nicole Barden, read a letter from his mother, Eunice Ashley Henry. "Alicia, you can spend the next 900,000 years in prison, one for each dollar you thought you'd get for my son's life. Our family is moving on, but you will always think of us." Alicia remained stoic, rolling her eyes during the victim impact statements, showing no remorse. The judge sentenced Alicia to life without parole, a decision met with relief from Omar's family. However, in July 2022, the New York State Appellate Division, Second Department, overturned her conviction. The court ruled that Judge Neil Feiertag had failed to instruct the jury that Lovell's testimony, as an accomplice, required corroboration under state law. Additionally, an improper admission of an adoptive admission by silence, involving a phone call with Omar's mother, was cited as an error. The case was remitted for a new trial. As of July 2025, no public information confirms whether Alicia's new trial has occurred or its outcome. The case remains a topic of discussion, with true crime enthusiasts and legal analysts debating the strength of the evidence and the implications of the appeal. The insurance companies, National Benefit and the additional policy provider, refused to pay out, citing Alicia's role in the murder. Her attempt to sue National Benefit Life Insurance was unsuccessful, leaving her with nothing but the consequences of her actions. Closing reflection. The murder of Omar Murray is a haunting tale of love twisted into treachery. A man who worked tirelessly to provide for his family, who found solace in his faith, was betrayed by the person he trusted most. Alicia Noel Murray's actions, driven by greed and a desire to escape her debts, tore apart a family and left a young child without a father. The image of Alicia at Omar's funeral, chewing gum in the front pew while his family wept, remains a stark symbol of her detachment. This case resonates because it exposes the fragility of trust and the devastating consequences of betrayal. It reminds us that even in the closest relationships, hidden motives can lead to unthinkable acts. As Omar's mother declared, the Murray family has moved forward, but the scars of this tragedy linger. For true crime audiences, the story of Omar Murray is a chilling reminder that the pursuit of wealth can corrupt the human heart, leaving a trail of grief and unanswered questions.